Welcome to the deep dive, everyone. This is presented by Bluewater Auto Restoration.
Glad to be back.
It's week 33 of 2025, and as always, we've got a new deep dive dropping for you this Saturday morning.
That's right.
Today, we're getting into something that can seem pretty complex, maybe even a little scary for some folks. Automotive wiring harnesses.
Oh, yeah. The spaghetti under the dad.
Exactly. And we're looking at that big question. Should you build your own from scratch, the DIY route, or go with a pre-made kit?
It's a common dilemma for restorers and builders.
Our goal here is to, cut through some of that complexity. We want to pull out the really important stuff, give you the insights you need, maybe even a few surprises along the way.
Those aha moments are always good.
Totally, because anyone who's ever really looked under the hood of a classic, maybe even worked on one and seen that mess of wires, well, it can be intimidating.
It really can look like chaos.
But we think, and we'll explore this today, that with the right information, maybe a bit of patience, it's actually something you can totally tackle.
Absolutely. It's conquerable. Okay, so where do we start?
Let's start with the basics. What exactly is a wiring harness?
Good question. Fundamentally, think of it as the nervous system of your car. It's a carefully bundled set of wires, connectors, terminals.
All routed together.
Exactly. And it carries all the electrical power and signals everywhere they need to go in the vehicle.
So everything from the ignition, telling the engine to start,
Like
your headlights turning on, your gauges reading correctly, power windows, stereo, everything. It all runs through the harness.
So it's not just a tangle. It's actually a very organized system, or at least it should be. How critical is getting this right in a restoration?
Oh, it's absolutely foundational. You can have perfect paint, a perfectly rebuilt engine.
Possess parts.
Right. But if that wiring is old, brittle, poorly installed, or just frankly wrong, you're asking for trouble.
What kind of trouble?
Anything from annoying stuff like lights flickering or gauges not working, right up to serious safety issues like short circuits or even electrical fires. Wow. Okay, so it's about safety, reliability, making sure everything actually works.
Precisely. It's the difference between a car you can trust and one that's always got some weird electrical gremlin lurking.
Okay, that sets the stage. Let's dive into the first path then. The DIY approach, building it yourself.
Right. So this means you're starting with the raw materials, spools of wire, boxes of connectors, terminals.
And probably a very good wiring diagram, I hope.
Oh, absolutely essential. Either the factory one or a custom one you've drawn up. You're literally crafting every connection.
It sounds like a massive job. Why would someone choose this? What are the upsides?
Well, the biggest pro is undoubtedly the custom fit. If your car is heavily modified.
Like a hot rod or a Restomod with a modern engine swap?
Exactly. Or maybe custom lighting, digital gauges, fuel injection. A DIY harness lets you route every wire perfectly for your specific setup. No compromises.
So total control over where everything goes.
Total control. Another potential benefit is cost. Now, this needs a caveat. Yeah. If you already own the specialized tools, and if you're buying materials in bulk, it can work out cheaper than a high-end kit. But the tools themselves are an investment.
Okay, so maybe cheaper on materials, but you need the gear first.
Correct. And the third big pro, and I think this is really valuable, is the educational experience.
You really learn your car's electrical system inside and out.
You absolutely do. Building it wire by wire gives you this incredibly deep understanding, which down the road makes troubleshooting so much easier because you know exactly how it's all connected.
That makes a lot of sense. That knowledge would be powerful. But okay, let's talk about the downsides. What are the challenges? Where does the DIY dream maybe turn into a nightmare?
Well, the number one con, no question, is time. It is incredibly time-consuming.
We're not talking about a weekend project here.
Oh, definitely not for a full car.
Mm-hmm.
Running, cutting, stripping, crimping, soldering potentially, heat shrinking, routing every single wire. You could take dozens, even hundreds of hours.
Wow, okay. Patience is key.
Huge amounts of patience. And it requires complexity. You need a really solid understanding of electrical principles, voltage drop, current load, proper grounding.
You basically need to be a bit of an electrical engineer for your car.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And you need that accurate diagram we mentioned.
Mm.
Without it, or with a poor understanding, it becomes very error-prone.
And errors in wiring can be bad.
Very bad. A bad crimp, a wire chafing on metal, a crossed connection, that can lead to shorts, blown fuses, systems not working, or, like we said, even fire. The potential for mistakes is quite high if you're inexperienced.
So high stakes. If someone's still thinking, yeah, I want that custom control, I'm up for the challenge, what tools are we talking about beyond basic pliers?
Right. You need proper gear for a reliable job. A good quality wire stripper that doesn't nick the copper. A proper crimping tool designed for the specific terminals you're using, not just squashing them with pliers.
That makes a difference in the connection strength.
Huge difference. You probably want a soldering iron and heat shrink tubing for certain connections, especially in harsh environments like the engine bay.
For weatherproofing and strain relief?
Exactly. A multimeter is absolutely non-negotiable. You need it for testing continuity, checking voltage, finding problems.
Can't work blind.
Nope. And then for organization, cable loom or braided sleeving to bundle wires, P-clips or cushion clamps to secure the harness neatly to the body, and yes, plenty of zip ties, maybe even terminal removal tools for fixing mistakes.
Okay, that's a solid list. It gives a real sense of the DIY commitment. Now let's flip the coin. Let's talk about wiring harness kits.
All right, the pre-made option.
These are the packages you buy, often designed for specific cars or as universal kits. What's the big appeal here?
The number one advantage is simplicity, or at least relative simplicity.
How so?
Good kits come with the wires, often cut to approximate lengths. They're usually color-coded, and crucially, they're labeled.
Labeled, like headlight switch power or coil positive.
Exactly like that. Printed right on the wire insulation every few inches. Sometimes they even have the correct terminals pre-installed for major components. It takes a huge amount of guesswork out of the equation.
It sounds significantly less intimidating, like assembling furniture with instructions versus milling the lumber yourself.
That's a pretty good analogy, actually. And because of that labeling and pre-engineering, it's a massive time saver.
Stands to reason. Less figuring things out.
Way less figuring things out. Much less measuring, crimping, planning routes from scratch. What takes days or weeks, DIY might only take hours or a couple of days with a kit.
And what about support if you get stuck?
That's the third big plus. Reputable manufacturers like Painless Performance, American Auto Wire, Quick Wire often provide really good support. Detailed manuals, online resources, sometimes even phone help.
That's huge for a first-timer. That hand-holding can make all the difference.
Absolutely. It builds confidence and helps you avoid common pitfalls.
Okay, kits sound great for ease and speed, but there have to be downsides, right? It can't be the perfect solution for every single build.
Definitely not. The main trade-off is less flexibility. While they're great for stock or near-stock vehicles, if you have major modifications.
Like that custom dash or the engine swap we talked about.
Right. The kit might not have provisions for everything, or the wire lengths might not be quite right for your unique component locations. You might still end up doing some custom splicing and adapting.
So less customization possible compared to DIY.
For sure. The other factor is cost. Quality kits aren't cheap. You're looking at, what, $400 maybe for a very basic one, up to $1,200 Canadian dollars or even more for a really comprehensive vehicle-specific kit.
So you're paying for that convenience, the labeling, the support.
Exactly. You're paying for the engineering and the time savings. And even the universal kits, which are meant to be adaptable.
Teamwork.
Yeah, they often require more work than a vehicle-specific kit. You'll likely have extra wires you don't need, wires you need to trim to length, and you'll have to figure out the routing yourself. They're versatile, but not truly plug-and-play in most cases.
Okay. So for someone looking at kits, you mentioned a few names. Painless, American Auto Wire, Quick Wire. Any quick guidance on choosing between them?
Generally, Painless Performance is often seen as great for modified cars, restomods, hot rods, good instructions, clearly labeled wires for adding modern stuff.
Makes sense.
American Auto Wire tends to be the go-to for really accurate factory-style restorations. They often use original-style connectors and wire colors, aiming for that period-correct look.
For the purists.
Pretty much. And Quick Wire is often a more budget-friendly, solid, universal option for simpler builds or where cost is a major factor. Still gets the job done reliably.
Good breakdown. So who are these kits really ideal for? What's the sweet spot?
They're fantastic for period-correct restorations where accuracy matters, but you also want reliability. Great for daily drivers or weekend cruisers where you just want it to work reliably without reinventing the wheel.
Especially for beginners.
Absolutely. For the first time DIY tackling a full rewire, a kit provides structure, instructions, and that support network. It dramatically increases the chances of success and reduces frustration.
Okay, theory is one thing, but let's make this real. We've got some insights from someone who actually went through this wiring. A 68 Pontiac Lehman's using a painless kit.
Oh, excellent. Real-world experience.
Yeah, and this person was, in their own words, a total wiring newbie. called it scary, a nightmare prospect before starting. Felt that classic intimidation looking at the old harness.
Which is totally relatable. So even with a kit, which is supposed to be simpler, how complex did it actually turn out to be? Was it just follow the numbers?
Not quite. They found out pretty quickly that even a kit doesn't solve every problem, especially on an older car. Take the main positive battery cable. On that 68 Pontiac, the factory routed it through a metal tube right next to the exhaust manifold.
Uh-oh.
Heat and vibration.
Exactly. Over time, the insulation rubs through, shorts against the tube, potential fire hazard. It was a known flaw. The kit provided a new cable, but it didn't magically fix that bad original routing.
So the person still had to identify the problem and find a better path.
Precisely. They had to figure out rerouting it behind the inner fender along the firewall, a safer path. It shows that even with a kit, you still need to think critically about the specific vehicle.
That's a fantastic point. The kit gives you components, but you're still the installer, the architect, applying it to the car's reality.
And those little details matter immensely. Grounding, for instance. They learn the importance of not just installing new ground straps, but actually sanding the paint off the block and the firewall where the straps connect.
Yes, that's so crucial and so often missed. Paint is an insulator. You need clean, bare metal for a solid ground. Poor grounds cause endless, frustrating electrical gremlins, dim lights, slow wipers.
Phantom problem. Totally. It's a small step that makes a huge difference in reliability.
Another lesson learned was about wire management, specifically wires included in the kit that weren't needed immediately, like circuits for an electric fan or AC, maybe planned for later.
All right, what do you do with those?
The advice was, don't cut them short. Cap them off securely with heat shrink tubing, label them, and tuck them away neatly within the harness. Be a hoarder, as they put it.
That's smart. Future-proofing the build.
Exactly, because adding that fan or AC later becomes so much easier if the wire is already run. You just uncap it and connect instead of tearing everything apart again.
Saves a ton of time and hassle down the line. Excellent tip.
This project was comprehensive too.